All right, joining me once again here on the Matthew Filipowicz Show is my good friend Joan McCarter. Joan is a writer, a blogger, and senior policy editor at Daily Kos, which you can find at dailykos.com. Joan, thank you so much for being on the show again.
Glad to be here.
All right, so Joan, this week we actually have sorta filibuster reform a little bit. I mean, it's not total filibuster reform, but it's sort of filibuster reform. Tell us what exactly happened and what has changed so far.
Well, I don't think that you could actually call it filibuster reform because filibuster is still in place. But Harry Reid actually did manage to make enough Republicans blink to make them stop using it, at least on a handful of executive nominees, and for the next perhaps 2 weeks. We'll see what happens after that. But, it was actually, that minimizes to a degree what happened. Harry Reid did marshal 51 Senate Democrats to stand behind him to pull the plug on the filibuster for executive nominees, to say if you keep having these frivolous objections to them, if you continue this behavior, we will end the filibuster on executive nominees with a simple majority vote. 51 of us will say, all right, you can't do this anymore, and from now on, executive nominees will get an up or down vote. And he held to his guns in all of the negotiating and all of the last-minute attempts for gangs to form. He held to his guns, and Republicans blinked. They did get a concession that I'm not thrilled with in terms of precedent, in terms of hostage-taking. They said 2 National Labor Relations Board nominees who had been recessed appointed by President Obama would have to be substituted. And Reid agreed to that. I'm not thrilled with that concession.
So what does that mean precisely? Because I know that's a pretty important board here. What does that actually mean as far as that goes? Like of who might actually, will the new people have to be potentially, I mean, it'd have to be a 51 vote again on that as well, or is that would be something different?
The Republicans did agree to give them a simple majority vote in the end. They will allow cloture to pass on these 2 nominees, and they will vote for them. President Obama had 2 already essentially selected. I'm sure he had a long list of people who would be good. He had a long list of people who Labor had approved of, and in fact found his 2 substitute nominees with Richard Trumka's help. So the 2 people who will be going onto the board are good for Labor. But it does mean that it was sort of face-saving for Republicans, but they did get a bit of a concession, and they did their blackmail work to a certain degree.
And for that it was essentially we had 2 people in there who were doing an okay job who were blocked, but Obama recess appointed them, and they were like, well, get those 2 out and get 2 more people in, and so you have these 2 people who were probably doing a fine job who are no longer going to be doing it because of just some ridiculous Republicans wanting to have some type of concession, essentially.
Exactly. Which is really unfortunate for those 2 people who have been largely stymied because of the whole long history of this case. In January of 2012, Obama made the recess appointments of Richard Cordray at Consumer Financial Protection Bureau and these 2 NLRB. He actually made 3 NLRB nominations or appointments, but these are the 2. For whatever reason, the Senate Republicans are really opposed to. Senate Republicans sued, saying that those appointments were not constitutional because it wasn't actually a recess. The Senate was going into pro forma sessions. And the First Circuit Court in D.C., a very, very conservative court, agreed with Senate Republicans, saying that because he did not make these appointments in the very few minutes between last session and this session beginning, his appointments were unconstitutional. It was a rather far-reaching ruling. pending now on appeal by the government, pending now before the Supreme Court. They should hear it next year. And given this resolution in the Senate, I'm not sure what's going to happen with that court case. But because of that court case, the NLRB has largely been stymied. Their decisions have been essentially challenged, and businesses are not really sure what footing they're on. Certainly, labor is not certain. Employees are not certain what footing they're on because these two nominees who may or may not be there officially. This will hopefully resolve much of that, having confirmed actual Senate-approved board members will hopefully put that behind us, and the NLRB will be able to function at full force again. That's what we're hoping. We'll see what happens with this pending court case, but I wouldn't be surprised if it ended up being dismissed. Because the third person involved, of course, is Richard Cordray, who's now officially the head of the CFPB. He was approved yesterday.
That's really, and it's great that Richard Cordray was approved. Other than Elizabeth, again, like the Republicans wouldn't let Elizabeth Warren do it, and so I in Massachusetts living here, I got to get Elizabeth Warren as my senator, which is great. But like they were, they wouldn't let him pass, and Cordray was recess appointed, but they were fine letting his vote go through, and he was approved. And so this is actually, again, a positive light of this sort of filibuster deal, I guess, that happened.
Extremely positive. We've got a fully functioning CFPB, and Republicans weren't able to achieve what they wanted, which was to essentially gut the organization. They wanted to bring it under their own oversight so that they could defund it, actually. The funding from it comes from the Treasury. No ties to Congress, and that was something that they hated. They wanted to be able to control the purse strings of it, which meant they could control it and limit its ability to, help consumers. Which is it's remarkable to me that they could be so anti-consumer, they could be so anti-Main Street, and get away with it.
Yeah. No, it's funny how again, like not like Obama is anti-Wall Street. I mean, Obama has not prosecuted one banker for those crimes, and again, the CFPB was one of the really positive things that came out of Dodd-Frank. But even that, they're just like, oh, no, that's horrible. We can't even possibly have this little sliver of help for consumers getting ripped off by big banks.
It just is remarkable to me. Consumer protection is the name of the agency, and they're fighting against it tooth and nail.
Yeah. But so that is a positive note. So essentially, though, there's a handshake deal between Republicans and Democrats that they will not filibuster presidential appointees. So all that's really is needed is 51 votes to actually get it passed, and I guess technically 50 if you consider Joe Biden president of the Senate. So that would make it actually up to 50 if he would cast the tie-breaking vote there.
And he was prepared to do so yesterday.
Right. But other than that, the filibuster for everything else is actually still entirely in place, though, right? And
it's still in place, actually, for executive nominees. They could come back and decide they wanted to oppose the next Department of Homeland Security appointee. Unlikely they will because, what Reid did was show he has got the votes. And what I think was important in this, Mitch McConnell actually went to Reid early on Tuesday morning, or late Monday night, my time. I think it may have been late Monday night with the offer. We will let all of these 7 nominees through without any strings attached if you promise not to go nuclear for the remainder of the session. And Reid wouldn't give him that promise. Reid rejected it. So he has the nuclear option in his back pocket to invoke any time he needs to, and he's got the 51 votes to do it. That's I think, the crux of what happened yesterday. Another thing that's important, though, it puts Republicans on notice for frivolous filibusters, but it also puts Democrats on notice to not let it happen. if something now gets blocked, if a nominee now gets blocked, it's because Democrats want them